No. I'm doing the self video. Thank you. Let me know if you can hear me when you come in. I have on my Bluetooth, so hopefully you can hear me. I'm at the beach. I just had to come shoot this quick video. So let me know if you can hear me. It is beautiful out there. Look how beautiful it is. And then you have the so beautiful. Let me know if you can hear me. If there is too much wind, let me know. I have my Bluetooth and just let me know if you can hear me and shoot this quick video. For the one if you can hear me clearly. If not, I may have to go to my car when I leave. Let me know if you all can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Hi, Larry. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Keisha. I was sitting here on the beach. This is my little quiet time. This is my moment to just release and come and cry if I need to cry and do what I need to do. I needed to spend time with myself and, just sit with my own thoughts. And I brought my journal to write, but I didn't get to do that because I was too busy people watching. I love to people watch. I don't know if any of you like to do that. I don't want to sound weird. But I like watching people. Just watching how joyous and happy they are. The children just sitting there watching how free spirited children are. They have no worries. Right? They have no worries. But what I wanted to come talk to you all today about, I say, you know what, let me tap in with my chosen ones and to let them know that people will always secretly compete with you. Put them on in the chat if you have noticed. People will always secretly compete with you. You're not even in a competition with anyone. You're not even trying to outdo. You're not trying to outshine. That's not who we are as chosen ones. You're just trying to be the best version of you know how to be. But for some reason, and you can feel it, you can sense this foolery. People will try to put you in a competition with them. Either they try to, outparent you. They'll try to be a better spouse than you, a better wife, better husband. They'll try to, you know, raise their children different or better than how you're raising your children. It's always a competition. And chosen ones, the reason these people are always trying to compete with you because they don't know who they are. That's why they try to compete with you. They don't know who they are. They have this copycat spirit, not knowing it is not easy to be a chosen one. You're trying to do the best you can. You're trying to do the best you could with the resources given. Because most chosen ones, we've been deprived of a lot of things. We've been deprived of resources. We've been deprived of love. We've been deprived of attention. We've been deprived of affirmations and different things. But we make it look easy. So instead of people trying to find their own path, what they'll do is they'll sit and compete against you. Yes, they will. They'll sit and compare their life to you. Right? Yes, if they only knew what the world we've been through, they'll sit down and go hide somewhere. That's what they'll do. They'll sit down and go hide somewhere. But instead, they sit here and they look at us. They size us up. They watch what's going on with our children. They watch what's going on in our lives, and they want to go make sure that what you're experiencing with your children, what you're experiencing with your spouse, they want to assure it doesn't happen to them. But little do they know, life happens to the best of us. You know what I'm saying? Life happens to the best of us. And that's what people forget to realize. Chosen ones, we know life is going to happen. We know life is happening. And what people would do, they would try to assure that they don't go down the road we went through. And that's just life. And have you ever noticed? Let me tell you another thing. This happened to the chosen ones a lot. I've noticed it most of my life. When life happens to us, chosen ones, people tend to rejoice. They sit back, and that gives them fuel. They love to see us going through things. But when we're going through things, that is God trying to wake us up. God is strengthening us. God is training us. But when they go through the same thing, it's all hell breaking loose for them. It's all hell for them. But when you're going through something, oh, they sit back. They talk about you. They're glad that you're going through that. Because see, they already thought you thought you was all that anyways. So they're glad that you're going through different things. They sit and they rejoice. It's like their life gets so much better because you're going through something. But we know as the chosen ones, that's part of life. We can't escape life. We cannot get out of life. Get out of life. We cannot get out of life alive. Let me say that. We know as the chosen ones, we know we're going to leave here one day. We understand life in its entirety. We don't run from that. We don't try to justify when we go through different things. We don't try to justify that, right? And you ever notice the people that always sitting around, right? This one is so beautiful. These are so beautiful. You ever notice the people that sit around and they talk about you and they wish bad on you, but they don't look at their own life. Their own life is broke, busted, and disgusted. While they're trying to sit and hope bad on you and glad that you're going through something. See, the chosen ones, we're different. We're not like that. We're not like that. We don't sit around and be glad when someone is going through something. We don't sit around hoping and praying that um whatever someone is going through, that's good for them. We don't have that type of energy. We don't have that type of heart. But it's always the people that are just broke, busted, and disgusted in their spirit. They love to get information. And let me tell you something, chosen ones. There are a lot of monitoring spirits watching you all. There are a lot of people scanning and scrolling your Facebook pages, your YouTube channels, your business channels. You have to be careful. Don't be afraid, but just pay attention. You have a lot of monitoring spirits. They want to watch and see what you're doing, see how your life is going, because they want to see something negative. They want to compare themselves to you. It's a competition. They want to feel good about themselves if they find out you're going through something. They want to. They thrive off of that. But see, you don't see you going through life as something bad. Excuse me, as a chosen one. You don't see you going through life as something bad. As the chosen ones, we know we get strength from that. We're in training. We're in training. And they'll sit there and it's like almost you can almost feel the joy. You can sense the joy in people when you're going through something. Right? You can sense that. I remember 3 years ago when I was going through something with my oldest son. And I saw this person. Um, it's almost like she was rejoicing because I was going through something with my son. She sat there and laughed in my face. She had this little evil smirk on her face as if she was like, yes, I'm finally glad. I'm glad he finally was rebelling against you. It's like people want that type of stuff to happen to you, right? They want that energy, that type of negativity. But she don't understand that I already knew that my son was going to, and my children, not just my son, they got their own journey. I'm not one of them mothers. See, that's what people do. People will look at you, and because you have a certain standard for your children, because you want something better for them, what they would do is they would look at you, and they'll see that you want something different, that you're striving for something different. And when things like this happen to your children, what they would do is they'll sit and speak curses over you. Say, you know what? I knew this was going to happen. I told her, not to do this. She should have left them kids. They'll say silly stuff and stupid stuff. But me, how I think, we're all going to go through our prodigal moment. I've been through mine. These children are going to live and they're going to go through their own moments. And you have to let them go through their journey. I'm not one of those mothers who just think these kids are going to walk through life unscathed. I'm not one of these parents. I understand children are going to go through their own issues. They're going to go through their own rebellious stage. But yeah, she sat there and smirked and laughed in my face. Yeah, she sat there with that evil smirk and laughed in my face as if she was saying, yes. Like, and I'm sitting there like, really? I'm like, really? But I said, God bless her. I had to just send her and just say, yes. Yeah, that's the cycle of life, Keisha. Like, people so ignorant. They just feel like, and see, they only get ignorant with the chosen ones. Anyone else can go through all kind of foolishness. But when the chosen ones go through their cycles and they have their, dealings and issues with their children, oh, they want to magnify it. People rejoice. They sit and rejoice about this stuff when we go through it. But see, we're different from them. We know how to handle it. We know what to do. But oh boy, when they go through it, because see, some people, they don't have children who are as old as your children. So they think in their head, oh, that'll never happen to my child. Oh, my son would never do that. My child would never. One thing I've learned, let me tell you one thing I learned when I was a teenager. What I've learned when I was a teenager, I learned not to put my mouth on people's children. I learned not to put my mouth on people's children. I learned not to put my mouth on people and say what they're not going to do and how they're going to turn out. Because it be the same one that God will use to make you look bad. He'll use the same ones that you put your mouth on. I'm a product. I'm one of those people. I'm chosen. People lied and put their mouth on me and just thought I was going to turn out a certain way because of how they thought I was going to, be because of the lack of guidance that I had. And I had friends who parents were there for them. I had a friend who mom told me I should have let my daughter hung around you. Maybe she would have turned out better. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that she would have turned out better because what is in you is in you. But she was one of the ones that kind of judged me, you know, because they were I was what they call, I don't know, I won't say fast, but I'll say fast. And it wasn't just fast and like being and doing things. It was that I was more mature, right, for my age, because my grandparents were more mature in certain things, right? But one thing I learned, you don't put your mouth on people's children because when I tell you what will happen, and I've seen it happen over and over, you don't sit and rejoice because just because your child is young now and you have more control over them, and you think because you're bringing them up in the church, you think because you're doing the right thing, they're honor student, you think because you're doing the right thing that child is not going to go through their journey. Oh, you best believe you don't know what them kids going to get into. And now that parents, we're not up against parenting, we're up against social media, we're up against the school systems and how they just implemented certain things. We got more things that we're fighting to raise these children now. So don't put your mouth on people. I'm telling you, don't put your mouth on folks. It never turns out right. It never turns out right. And I know as parents, we try to protect our children, we want the best for our children, and we don't want our children hanging and being around certain people, you know. We don't want our children hanging and being around certain people. But at the same time, don't make it seem as if your child is so much special than someone else's. Because we all know how that turns out. And then, when the child doesn't turn out how you put them on a pedestal, then you want to feel ashamed. No, you don't feel ashamed. One thing about me, and people got it misconstrued. They got it messed up because how I raised my children. Certain people had this this mindset of that I thought my children were better than people. It's not that I thought they was better. They thought they foolish. It's that I wanted better. I wanted my children not to have an excuse. So when they do mess up, they can look at themselves. They can't look and point at mommy and say what mommy did. Oh, I was making sure I did what I was supposed to do. I'm gonna hold them accountable. And that's what I did. I held them accountable. Even my son. See, people don't like to be held accountable. I've mentioned this quite a few times. Even with my son, I held him accountable. And I'm not one of those parents that's going to pacify. I'm not one of those parents that's going to what that thing is. Pacify, that's going to oh right, did you hear that? I'm not one of those parents that's going to sit there and go along with my child just so I can be in good graces. No, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm one of those parents. And you got to be willing to tell your children the truth, hold them responsible and accountable, even if they get mad at you and don't want to talk to you anymore. Yes, I'm not one of those parents. I didn't grow up with that. I'm not one of those bow down and lay down parents. I'm not one of those. I'm one of those parents. No, you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna see how you're responsible for what you're doing. You're gonna be accountable for the decisions you made. I could have made a lot of decisions. I could have made a lot of decisions that were wrong decisions. When I used to hang out, when I used to club and party before I had my children, I made a decision that I had to give all that up when I had my son, when I had my oldest. I stopped clubbing. I stopped partying. I could have still did that. But I made a decision because I said, you know what? My son didn't ask to be here. He didn't ask to be here. So I had to do what I had to do to make sure I was a mother to him. Although I was young, but still, I had to make sure I was doing my part. And see, this why I can rest, and this is why I don't care what people say, and this is why I can sleep, and this is why I can be okay with um with things and how they are with my son. This is how I can sleep peacefully, because when you know you did all you could, there is no there is no there is no there is no regret, there is no remorse. Now see, my son got a lot of enablers. He got a lot of enablers around him. I'm not one of those type that enable, because I know that we're fighting something stronger than just what people could see. We're fighting something stronger. We're fighting generational curses. So I'm not going to enable. I'm not going to be the one to perpetuate, to continue the curse. I'm not going to be that person. I can't. It's not in me. I love my son, but I refuse to sit there, right? I refuse to sit there and agree and watch you do foolishness, and I sit there and agree with it. You know, I had some of my own family get on Facebook, and they think I don't know. And this is my first time sharing this with share with my chosen one tribe. I had some of my family get on Facebook and say, "Oh, they'll never turn their back on their son. They'll never turn their back on their child." And I'm like, that's throwing shade. You talking about me, but I'm not gonna say nothing. But little did they know, I'm not turning my back. What I will not do is I will not be disrespected, and I will not enable. See what it is, when you don't put your family in your business, they don't know what's going on, so they assume everything. And my son, of course, when he said some things, that were not true too. So, I've forgiven him. I've forgiven him because, he let the devil use him. And then he had other people coercing him and enabling him. And, when people enable your children, it's a sort of a way to say, you know what, I'm gonna get back at you. When they enable your children, when they take your children's side and they don't speak truth to them, that is the way of saying, you know what, I'm gonna get back at you. This is how I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you through your child. I may not be able to get you, but I can use him because he's gullible. I can use him because he's vulnerable. I can use him because he don't have any sense. I can use him because he's still young. And see, I see this stuff, right? I see this, right? I see this stuff. So, I don't get into it. What people looking at is surface stuff. It's something bigger. It's something bigger that we're dealing with, right? So I don't get into all of that. I don't deal with the surface things. But yes, I had people just throw shade. I mean, just they drug me through the mud, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, y'all don't even know what happened. You're speculating, and you only can go and see. That's another thing. When people don't know what's going on, they are assumed. They will assume, and they are put pieces together. They'll put pieces together. Yes, I had some of my own family just straight up turn their backs on me, like get mad at me, knowing they should know out of anything I wouldn't do anything to harm my child, but I'm gonna hold him accountable. Hold him accountable. Yes, stop talking to me and everything. The energy was different. Even when they tried to talk, you could still feel the energy is different, right? That is the truth. I got to be honest with you all. And what it is, like I say, when people don't know your business, when you stop telling people what's going on in your household, they don't have no other choice but to assume, right? And so it was made to seem like I was abusing my son or I turned my back on him because I didn't run and fall into his temptations. I didn't fall into his catering. I didn't fall into his foolishness. Cause see, he was going through his own little demonic. He was going through his own demonic process. He had to get through it himself. He didn't want to listen, right? When your child don't want to listen, and he hauled off and said he wanted to leave, you gotta free them, right? You gotta free them. I don't know why I'm getting on this. We were talking about competition, because we were talking about children. But you got to let them be. He was 19 at the time. He was 19 at the time, right? So you got to let him be. And when I let him be, and I didn't run to all of the little small things I saw him doing to try to get my attention, it was, oh, you turning your back. Oh, don't turn your back. No, 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 no. I'm not going to turn my back on my child, but if he's not listening, right? If he's not listening, if he don't want to listen and try to understand where I'm coming from, and I'm trying to understand him, he just was in he was just in straight up rebellion. And then he wanted to say it was because of another reason that I didn't want to deal with him. He wanted to say it was for another reason. It wasn't for that reason. Because one thing about, and see, I have to be careful what I say, because I'm gonna come share this. I'm gonna share the entire story with my membership group and with the members when I get the members in the group, because I rather tell the people who are investing in the channel as far as that part, right? But he wanted to say it was for something else, and it wasn't because of that. It was because of the disrespect and the rebellion. And he thought I was going to bow. And I wasn't going to bow to my son with him doing all of the stuff he was doing because he knew what he was doing. I'm not going to blame it on no mental health issues. I'm not going to blame it on, because that's a cop out sometimes for people. I'm not going to blame it on that. 'Cause we'll say that in a minute. I'm not going to blame it on the devil, which the devil did play a part, but we still have to hold people accountable for the actions. We still have to hold them accountable for their actions. Because if you do something, law enforcement is not going to want to hear, oh, the devil made me do it. Law enforcement is not going to want to hear that. They're going to put some cuffs on you. Yes, so the devil can use them kids. Yes, they can. But we still have to hold them accountable. Still have to hold him accountable. And of course, with him, he has some other people influencing him as well. But I still hold him accountable. I blame him for the majority of it. Because I, as a mother, you can see the things these children do that no one else can see. Those are your kids. You had them children. You know what they're capable of. You know what they're capable of. You know what they'll do. You know it. You know it. But anyways, that's why you got to be careful. Don't think your children. Don't think because you didn't experience that with your child or your grandkids or whomever. Don't think it won't happen to you. Never picture. That's why I never put my mouth on people. I never put my mouth on people because I experienced it growing up. I had friends that their mama thought they was angels. Their mama thought they was angels. Them friends were doing stuff I wasn't even doing. Look, them friends were doing things. I'm like, girl, are you doing that seriously? And we were young. We were young, but the moms thought them kids were innocent. They thought, listen, them kids are capable of doing things. Them kids are capable of doing some things you will never know. You will never know. Because when I had this one friend, I guess her mom hadn't heard about me. And she had to see who I was. She had to meet me, which is rightfully so. Because my kids can't go with no one that haven't come to my house that I don't know. But I need to know the parents. I need to know what's going on. And this girl took me, and I sat in the car. She took me to this boy house, and I sat in the car while she went into the house. And when I tell you, that girl was doing some stuff. And I'm like, and your mama sitting here thinking he's just an angel. And when she got around her mom, she appeared to be just as angelic. And this is why you don't put your mouth on folks' kids. You don't know what them children doing. Them children will upset you. Them children will shame you. We can say we know our babies, and we really know what they're capable of, but still, we don't know everything they're capable of. We don't know everything they're capable of. We really don't. We really don't. That's why I say I don't put nothing past mine, because they're capable of a lot of things. You are capable. Look at the things, half the things that I was doing, half the things that I was doing. My grandmother didn't know. So we're capable. Sneaking and cursing and carrying on, using profanity. My grandma would beat the brakes off me, and she knew I was using profanity. But you do those things when you're around your friends, and when you just in this sphere of influence. You do things like that. You really do. You really do. Your friends influence you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. But that's part of life. That's part of growing up. But one thing don't put your mouth on kids. But chosen one, I want to just let you know that people are always secretly competing with you, right? And it's only because they don't know who they are. See, you know who you are, chosen one. You know who you are. You're authentic. You're real, right? And they don't know who they are. So they are using you as a measuring tool. You are a measuring tool for them, to them. Yes, you are a measuring tool. You are a measuring tool. That's why they're always looking at you competing, trying to outdo you, trying to raise their children better, trying to be a better wife, trying to. They're always trying to because they don't know who they are. They're always competing. They're always jealous for no reason, and don't understand that you've been through HE double hockey stick. Half of the time you don't want to be you. Half of the time you don't want to be yourself, right? But because you know who you are, you're confident in who you are. You're confident in who you are. They want to create a competition, and sometimes you can feel that stuff too. When you go around, you can feel it, and you over here minding your own business. You're in your own world, trying to manage. Look, you're trying to manage being the chosen one. You're trying to manage the foolishness you have to deal with, and they're over here trying to compete with you. They tell them there's nothing to compete with. I'm trying to tell them you're trying to do life. You're trying to do life. Life itself is a lie. Yes, life itself is a lie. And you're just trying to do life, right? Yes, you're just trying to do life, and um, you're trying to create. You're trying to be better than you were yesterday. You're trying to heal. You're doing the work to heal, right? You're trying to take care of yourself, take care of your health. You're trying to get over things that you've allowed in the past to go on for so long, and you're just trying to get through this stuff. You're trying to get through it, and they're sitting here trying to compete. And you're like, I'm not getting in that. And that's another thing. When you don't participate in it, they'll get mad at you too. When you don't participate in the competition that they've created for you, they will get mad. They will get upset with you. Yes, they will. They will get upset. But let's know, chosen ones, we're not in competition. The only person we're trying to be better than is ourselves. We're trying to be better than we were yesterday. We're trying to be better than we were 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 years ago. That's what we're trying to do. Yes, that is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to compete. But that's what I wanted to come and talk to you all about. I wanted to come talk to you all about that before I go. So that's what I want to talk about. I really had to talk about that. Yep, I really had to talk. The beach is so beautiful. I really had to talk. I'm gonna just spend a little bit more time before I leave. But you all be blessed. So I had to come and just chit chat a little bit, chit chat with you, let you know, let you all know. But the beach is so beautiful, so beautiful. But you all be blessed. I have to go.